You are watching the Global Gamers Invitational Tournament brought to you by iFixit. SCVs for the real world. The Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds. And Esports United, sponsored by Intel. This broadcast is also made possible by IC Cup TV, TeamLiquid.net, and of course, Blizzard Entertainment. Hello everyone, this is Mac with another game from the Global Gamers Invitational round of 32. This game between Sinatra, our blue Protoss, and his opponent Suggy, the yellow Protoss. We have Protoss v Protoss here on Metalopolis. This is game one of a best of three series. Once again, gotta thank those sponsors, iFixit, Esports United, and the Handsome Nerd donating to this tournament. So far we don't have much going on in the game. We'll be seeing our early pylons and scouting probes in no time at all. I'm always wary of Protoss v Protoss. It can be too much of a mirror match sometimes, so we can really hope that one of these players tries something a little atypical. Otherwise you can see it's just utterly identical production tabs. But both these players are very high caliber, and I am seeing a lot more variety in Protoss play lately. It has just been 4-gate against pretty much everybody, but now we're starting to see a lot more Protoss players varying it up, changing their gateway unit composition instead of just 2 zealots to 2 stalkers to 1 sentry. But still hard to tell what we'll see. There is a nice wall here from Suggy, so he is playing a very internal build, keeping those entrances to his mineral line nice and choked off so that he can use small numbers of units to block access to his probes. Both players scouting at a relatively similar time. Sinatra opting for a more open base build. Obviously the advantage here is it's easier just to navigate in your own base when you're not being attacked. We are getting gas at a very standard time here for Suggy. No gas so far, so hopefully this is the first indication of some divergence. We are indeed seeing a 2-gate opening instead of 1-gate Cybercore, so finally already here, only a few minutes into the game, we are seeing some divergence. A 2-gate push, and you see that the rally point here on the gateway is set all the way into this base, pretty much right on the mineral line. And this has not been scouted yet, so there will be a temporary advantage here for Sinatra. He is chrono boosting that first zealot. This probe is going to see it. Hard to tell if it's been reacted to. We'll see if anything happens in the base. He does have that Cybercore coming, is not canceling it. So Suggy has not responded yet to this 2-gate pressure. Fortunately for him, it is an awfully long way to his opponent's base, so it will take a long time for those extra zealots from the 2-gate to make it there. Second gateway almost up, and a second zealot being chrono boosted, the first on the way. So this one will arrive after the first zealot is up. In fact, there might be 2 of Suggy's zealots up by the time the first zealot arrives. So it's going to be very, very hard for Sinatra here to put any solid pressure on, and once Stalkers start hitting the cybernetics core with zealots in the front row, early zealot pressure just is going to crumble. So I don't see that this early gambit is going to be very effective for Sinatra. Unfortunately, it was scouted a little bit too early, and cross positions just does not quite favor this kind of early aggressive play. We are seeing that first Stalker being chrono boosted, and I think this is going to spell the end of this early pressure. We can see that in Sinatra's base, he is still continuing to pump zealots, getting 2 2 assimilators right away. Still no Cybercore, however, and you see that he is falling back here, so I don't think he's going to try this any longer, which is unfortunate. That early gambit has put him behind a little bit by in terms of a worker, and his gas is behind, so his tech is going to be slow. He's not going to get that warp gate technology as fast, and he won't have other options available to him like the Robo facility or Stargates, Templar, that sort of thing. So Suggy looking pretty good right now. Playing standard is paying off so far. See, all these Sinatra zealots have retreated to the base, so that attempt at the dual gateway early push was not effective, and he's getting that Cybercore. So we'll see what Sinatra does to try and bring himself back up to the level of his opponent, because he is slightly behind, and so the initiative is his. All that Suggy needs to do is either push with a 4-gate, which looks like that's what he's doing. Got 2 gateways coming that will finish a little bit after this research is complete, and he will be able to move out with a scouting probe. And there's that probe right now. We'll see if he lays down a proxy pylon. Looks like he's going to go hide out of sight and lay something down. Sure enough, there it is. So Suggy preparing for that warp gate push, 4-gate warp gate push, but Sinatra intelligently spotting that probe, moves out, and he is going to be able to take down this pylon before it completes. And Suggy would be wise to cancel it. We'll see if he does. It looks like he is not going. He is going to cancel at the last second. Good decision there. He does have an awful lot of stalkers, which he can use to kite these zealots pretty much indefinitely, so his position is fantastic. But stalkers are coming out along with sentry support and that robo facility. So 2-gate robo against a 4-gate push. The loss of that proxy pylon actually really is going to hurt Suggy's opportunity here to put on some solid pressure. You see he's already backing off, getting a robotics facility. Probably recognizes that his opponent is too prepared for a 4-gate, and just moving up a ramp against the Protoss player is so hazardous, especially this early in the game. Once that sentry, who is almost out, comes out, you can cut the army in half and do so much damage to an attacker. So I think Suggy probably just going to back off. He does have that proxy pylon, so he has the option of pressure. He has Immortals coming out fairly soon, I imagine. But it is looking like he will not be able to apply too much. See that Sinatra is chrono boosting that Immortal out. That will give him an excellent tool to deal with the heavier Stalker content that will take advantage of his Zealots. But Suggy continuing to rally, so it looks like he is going to try. And I do feel a little bit worried for him. That Sentry is in a perfect spot to cut those Zealots in half. And Suggy trying to tempt the other forces out. And there it is. Just like I said, there is the force field perfectly placed. All of Suggy's Zealots are going to go down. And this Immortal going to... a little bit of position there, and now it's pure stalkers. They're just going to be able to kite those zealots, but there is another sentry out at this point in time with enough energy, so he can continue to block that off. Mass stalkers now coming out for Suggy. Does he have blink on the way? No, he does not. And once a few more Immortals come out with shields, this one needs its shields back. No more Immortals coming out, but if there were a few more, this stalker combination would not go well. However, there it is. We are seeing a robotics bay for Sinatra, so 3 gates and Colossus coming out, not going for those mass Immortals. And it looks like Suggy's still planning to press in, bringing lots of Zealots to the front and a sentry for that Guardian Shield. And Sinatra moving out with a probe for reasons unknown, maybe thinking about an expansion. Not really sure. And unfortunately for Suggy, his probe, his observer is caught, and still neither player able to get any sort of lead. It is nice that Suggy's able to take position in front of his opponent's base, but he's not making any use of it. He really needs to either press in or expand, take advantage of his opponent's containment, and he's just not doing that. He's trying again, so here he is moving in, not going to come too far up, hoping that his opponent will be foolish enough to come down that ramp and use the same force field chop as his opponent did against him. But Suggy is looking completely unwilling to take that risk a second time. Frankly, I agree with him, but the time is ticking. His opponent has Tech 2 Colossus, and that is a massive tech advantage. And you see here in the base, Suggy is just producing gateway units. He's not teching, he's not expanding. And this massive units will do him well, but that threat of the cutting his army in half with force fields mixed with Colossus is going to put him behind. So what little advantage he had early on from the field 2 gate is quickly evaporating, and he really needs to do something, anything, pretty soon. I would personally expand in this case, but we'll see what he decides to do. A second Colossus coming out, and there it is. Mass force fields trying to trap Sinatra's army too close, and unfortunately only an Immortal is caught. And it looks like those sentries now out of energy as a result of that gambit. That was a little bit risky, but I did like that. It was very clever, and using that observer for vision almost trapped a fair amount of Sinatra's army. And sure enough, there it is, recognizing that his current plan, that was the plan I didn't foresee, has failed. He won't be able to use those force fields to really take a bite out of Sinatra's army. He is expanding, picking up that Twilight Council to unlock Charge, Blink, and Templar tech. And using that observer, Suggy is trying to harass, but he keeps losing observers, and things not going very well for this attack. He will need to back off, I suspect. At least he can deny this expansion for a relatively long period of time, but Sinatra looking like he wants to press this army away, wants to be able to get his expansion. He, I'm guessing, hasn't scouted in a very long time. Yes, he's been contained in his base, so as far as he knows, there might have been a nexus here a long time ago. There's, of course, this pylon here, so Sinatra could warp in units and attack. But here it is. There is the push. Force fields going up by both players. The Colossus ripping apart Suggy's Zealots very, very quickly, but a huge mass of Stalkers here really is not being countered. Finally, the Zealots are going to be able to engage, and with Colossus support, it looks like Suggy's going to fall back, but he could take several of Sinatra's Zealots away during the retreat. Sure enough, there it is, picking off a couple there. Probably going to get some more, but Sinatra is going to fall back, as well he should. He's driven back the attack, but any further pressure is going to cost him more than it's worth. And now suddenly the onus is on Sinatra to get those Colossus into play. He is getting that expansion, which is what he needs. Suggy, meanwhile, has his. Probably going to see a transfer of workers very soon, as there's a lot. There they go. Leaving a very, very nice split, almost half moving away. And the two forces continuing to skirmish. Some nice force fields there, creating a very uncomfortable choke point for the Zealots. And Suggy with just the mass stalker and blink on the way, so he will be able to definitely out-micro his opponent. Has a far more mobile army, has a lot more options available to him. Sinatra, meanwhile, conversely, I suppose, is focusing on a more sturdy army, less maneuverable, but more has more oomph. Both players just enough sentries to try and control their opponent's movement. And it looks like we will be moving into a later phase of the game. Neither player is really going for tech. Not many upgrades, which I find surprising. No forges from either player yet. And we will have to wait and see if any tech switches happen. Really, this is probably going to come down to a macro game at this point in time. Suggy trying to just take advantage of the superior range. Blinks in, trying to focus something. A bunch of force fields going down to block those Zealots, and that is an excellent engagement by Suggy. He is taking out a lot of units in the retreat. Lots of Zealots being caught out of position. But that long range of the Colossus is going to make it very hard for him to do any more. He almost got this one Colossus in that blink in, and he's probably kicking himself right now that he didn't stay a split second longer, because that is a lot of damage done and a lot of shields going to regenerate. Once again, skirmishing, dancing back and forth. These Zealots are just meat, but the Colossus range is really taking its toll on the Stalkers. It's hard to tell. It looks like, indeed, Suggy is not actually doing well in these exchanges. He really needed to get that Colossus kill in the blink-in. Although the Zealots are dying in droves to that Stalker harass, he gets too close and he's losing his own Stalkers to Stalkers and Colossus. Still trying with the harass, however, picking off some more Zealots. But there are a lot of sentries here that can possibly trap these Stalkers in bad position. The Colossus just tearing into whichever exposed Stalkers meet up. And Sinatra definitely has the healthier combination of units right now. He has a similar number of Stalkers, but his Colossus is doing so well. Now, 1,000 mineral disparity. Suggy is fairly far behind. It looks like Suggy is going to lose this pylon. Not getting any pot shots off on those Colossus. And Sinatra has been able to establish his base quite comfortably. Meanwhile, Suggy, fully saturated, it looks like, has a healthy 10 Harvester lead. And now would be a good opportunity to do a tech switch instead of mass Stalkers, at least supplement in some way what he currently has, or at least upgrade. But it looks like he's committed to this blink. I think I saw, yes, there is an observer coming in, so he's going to try to blink into Sinatra's base. It's completely undefended. These forces are way out of position, so he is going to get in. There's the blink. One Stalker left behind. He's going to focus down some gateways rather than go for the probes. That is a good decision. He'll be able to get a lot more damage done if he focuses on gateways, but he is going to try to commit. This is a little bit risky. He is trapped. It's going to be hard for him to get out this corner. Robotics facility would be a nice opportunity target there, but he is going for the retreat. He's going to shift blink out of here. Yes, there they go, into the worker line of the expansion. And Sinatra already moving workers away, but has lost several in the meanwhile. But Suggy's Stalkers, having done all the damage, are trapped in this corner and starting to take a lot of losses. However, no, they have not. They're not doing as much damage as I thought. That blink through, not very effective. He only killed, I think, a robotics facility and a gateway and several workers, but he has lost almost his entire army. He's going to lose that forward pylon. And meanwhile, a pylon of Sinatra somehow got in. Didn't see this. He's warping in some Stalkers and Zealots into the expansion of Suggy in the meanwhile, and this force is bearing down on the base of Suggy. Not enough Stalkers. These ones miss micro. I don't know what that was about. And continue to warp in more and more units. It looks like Suggy's going to be able to drive this off. I think he has a few more warp gates than his opponent now, since he killed one. Never mind, it is tied at 4 and 4 warp gates, but the army of Sinatra has closed in, going to snipe off those pylons on the side, and the Colossus continuing just to be this massive advantage, allowing Sinatra to take advantage of Suggy's composition. No upgrades is part of the problem. And sure enough, there it is. Suggy does leave the game. He is out-muscled by that Colossus and just never quite changed his tech strategy. Didn't do enough damage with the Blink Micro, and he is defeated here in Game 1. So tune in, guys, on IC Cup TV for Game 2 of this series, and we'll see if Suggy can't turn things around in the next match. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, have a good one.